Hello and good morning friends, welcome to CEC-UGC live lecture with another lecture on development communication. As you know that we are carrying a series on development communication, and under this series today we are going to take, or we could say that we are going to discuss on a case study, and the case study is on national strategies for sustainable development. Particularly we are going to talk about our country India, and under this topic, with the help of this topic, we are going to understand first of all what is sustainable development is, what are the parameters which should be applied or which should be taken into consideration. So for this we have again with us in our studios Professor Devesh Kishore. He is Professor Emeritus with Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Mass Communication, as well as I would like to tell you all, he is a former director Electronic Media Production Center IGNU, as well as he was Dean with IMS Noida. He was advisor and director International Center of Excellence in Journalism and Communication IAAN House. So first of all, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. Devesh Kishore, and I hope that the way he used to deliver his lectures with the help of ample of examples which helps you understand the topic, I hope that this session would also be going to one of the productive sessions. Welcome Professor Kishore, welcome to the EduSec lecture. When we talk about the sustainable development, what is the first thought which comes to our mind?
Yeah, this is a good question. About sustainable development, we are always emphasizing how a country or area can sustain the development in right perspective in terms of growth in agriculture, in terms of growth in education, employment and other parameters of development itself. Today we will be discussing taking a case study of India as a country for this sustainable development, national sustainable development, a type of case study. I will discuss here basically when we are writing a case study, what are the parameters we keep in mind, what are the details we always write down for the benefit of the readers, as well as when we start the project on any of the developmental area, what are the important points to be considered. So let us understand that this case study on national strategies for sustainable development in India, how it has been worked out. I will be talking some of the important parameters first and then coming to the whole process of development, how it has been taken place, how it has been evaluated, and how do we prepare a summary and say that this is the project which has been completed with a success. Now first thing is the parameters about the India itself. Now India is having the population which is 16% of the world's population, and interesting thing is the land area we have of the world is 2.4. So it means India's most populated country in that sense when you keep the ratio of the land available to the country for the people to live it. Economic reforms started in India in 1990, that is very late even after independence. Third important thing is India is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations and it has 28 states and 7 union territories. The legislative power is in India at two levels, one is Rajya Sabha and there is Lok Sabha, and at state level is Vidhan Sabha. So national level we have elder body called Rajya Sabha and we have parliament called Lok Sabha, and state level we have Vidhan Sabha, which is the legislative power. When we say legislative power, mean it is elected government by the people in a democratic system. The judicial power, highest judicial power is with the Supreme Court of India. The national language, which is Hindi, and English has got an associated status. 42% of the people are illiterate, that is a biggest block, and 33% of the people live in poverty. That is why we always are talking about the development. Of course, life expectancy is about 63 years, which used to be very low at the time of independence. Then we have a National Council for Environment Policy and Planning with the Department of Science and Technology, which was set up in 1972. Now, this is the profile by selected indicators. Number one is Human Development Index. What does it mean? Human Development Index is based on education level, income level, and development parameters. India in the world is 127th position, that is the medium category of developing countries. The most developed countries, 5 on the top. Norway is the top, which becomes the first in Human Development Index, and USA becomes 5th on Human Development Index. If you go at the bottom level, most of these countries are from Africa, who comes on that. Interesting part to note that our all neighbors like Nepal, Pakistan, if you take their level, they come under the Poor Human Development Index. That means they come in the category of those countries which are still poor from development point of view. But Sri Lanka goes in higher rank of Human Development Index, which is also of course a neighboring country. Therefore, India falls under the medium development countries. Human Development Index is 0.59, which is 127th positions among the countries of the world. We are quite far if you see in the list. Then environment sustainability, which is another index which takes care of the different types of environment polluting the country itself, how safe it is, all that score is 42.6. Here what I want to give you the information is that we have all these indicators. Keep in mind when we are talking of the sustainable development. In any country, when this development is taken care of, these indicators are first worked out, or they are already worked out, and we take into account these indicators so that the development can be measured later on. Then we come to the approaches, which is very important, and as we have taken up the case study of India, where we are focusing all our presentation on India itself. India started this project of National Sustainable Development by 2005, and this is basically empowering people for sustainable development. In short, EPSD, empowering people for sustainable development. This is, in this project, the basic principles of democracy have been kept in mind. So, it is based on democratic process, and it has independent judiciary, civilian control of armed forces. The President of India controls all the armed forces, and we have independent media. Of course, we have public broadcasting system also, and electronic media, and then the people's participation. So, what are the parameters for empowering people? Conditions which are available to us is that we have to use democratic process, number one. Number two, we have independent judiciary. Number three, we have civilian control of armed forces. And number four, independent media, and we depend on people's participation. So, within these 5 parameters, we have to take care of national sustainable development. What are the objectives of this? There are basically 4 objectives of this strategy. Number is combating poverty. Combating poverty means people who are below the various levels of poverty level, that has to be taken care of. Number 2, empowering people. What does it mean, empowering people? Means people should be given skills, training, and they should be empowered to take up certain tasks so that they become useful member of the society, as well as they are able to earn their livelihood. Number 3, using core competence in science and technology. That whatever the latest things which are available as a skill or as a techniques, methodology, innovations, they should be able to use it. And fourth is under EPSD project, empowering people for sustainable development, is setting up the environmental standards. Now, these are the 4 main objectives which have to be taken care of, and EPSD will have projects and will have activities for basically to fulfill these objectives. Now, we come to the what are the targets for sustainable development. Number 1, as I said, was telling combating the poverty. It means we have to reduce the poverty ratio. We cannot eliminate poverty totally. Very difficult process to be undertaken within a short period of time. It takes number of years before you remove the poverty. But of course, you can reduce the gap. If 33% is the poverty ratio, then it can be reduced to maybe to 20% or 25% slowly. Next target is that all children are able to go to school. That means you should be able to have so many schools with the capacity so that all the children finds the seats in the school and are able to take the education. In other words, that you are taking care of education of the children who will become the future citizens of the country. There are certain problems in having all the children to go to the school. Many of them are dropouts. So, how we take care of the dropouts of the school? Then reduction in gender gaps in literacy and wage rates. We find that literary rates in the among the women is very low, and wage rates are also less. While we talk of in democracy, women and men have equal responsibility, equal status in the society, but facts are different. Then most important thing which is amongst the target included is the population growth. How can we reduce the population growth? If we can reduce the population growth, the development can take place at a fast speed. So therefore, what will be the measures for reducing the population growth? Then how can we increase the literacy rates among the adults? Can we have evening classes? Can we have adult classes? So that literacy rates among the adults can be increased. For children, of course, we can have schools, but we can't take adults to these schools like primary school children. So therefore, can we have separate arrangements where when they don't have much work to do in the field, if they are involved in agriculture as a profession, then can we have evening classes, adult classes where only adults come for the learning purposes. Then the next stage is, can we reduce the infant mortality rate? In developing country, this is biggest problem. India is also having the same problem of mortality rate. Even the maternal mortality rate is also very high. Can it be reduced? So reducing the IMR, that is infant mortality rate, and MMR, maternal mortality rate, that care has to be taken. Then forests are dwindling, they are being changed into the agricultural fields for cultivation, or they are being cleaned up and used for constructing the buildings, maybe the residences also. So how can we increase this forest cover which has been reduced over the years? And then the most important phenomena is drinking water, potable drinking water. Potable, how can we provide? Still in the many areas there are no methodologies available so that people can get safe drinking water. They are still taking the water from ponds in which a cattle take a bath, in which all the other activities are happening, and from the same pond they are drinking water. Then how can we clean our polluted rivers, because they are the source of water. If they are clean, then we can get clean water, and also they are responsible for certain diseases. Now these are the target India has fixed for sustainable development. So in this case study, these are the targets which have been worked out by a country like India, and our whole case will be depending how to fulfill these targets. How can we implement schemes so that these targets are achieved? Keeping this in mind, what are the planning process and how it is being coordinated in India? Planning is an important instrument of democracy, so that in India also we have the planning commission which has been recently changed into Niti Aayog. So the planning commission, I hope you understand basically the concept of the planning commission. The planning starts from the village, goes to the national level. How it is done? At the village level, you have panchayats, and these panchayats makes the blocks, So, you have block pramukhs, block development committees, and at these blocks makes a district, that is you have district development committee or Jila Parishads, and from Jila Parishad you have state development committees where all Jila Parishad Pramukhs, Jila Pramukhs are the members, and then they work out the state plans, and from all the states then they go to the planning commission. That means there is a process which has been inbuilt for development purposes from village to the national level, and information flows, and then the programs are approved, then they are sent back to the through the same process to the village level. So, planning becomes a very important instrument whereby we take care of the problems, needs and requests of the people from the lowest level, and from this lowest level we work out the block plans, district plans, state plans and national plans, and these plans take care of the need of the people in context of development. So, the sustainable development becomes a concern and is a vital element in the planning process. How this can be sustained, that is very important. Up till now, the name of the Planning Commission of India, which is responsible for making the 5-year plans. These 5-year plans indicates what work has to be done within 5 years at various levels. So, everything is measured keeping time duration in mind is 5 years, and then we are able to find out how much progress has been made. So, the Planning Commission of India, that is PCI, works under the overall guardians of the National Development Council, the highest decision making authority in the country on development matters. The chairman used to be the Prime Minister of National Development Council, which is, and the various ministers are the members, and then national plans are worked out. Now, what I am trying to suggest here is and bring out that India under the democratic system of the governance, how the planning process is being taken care of to meet the targets, as we discussed earlier, for various subjects and keeping the mind their needs of the people, and then we work on the basis of that. Now, the question is, how do we integrate sustainable development principles? When we talk of sustainable development principles, that means the development, which is the main content, how it can be sustained during a particular period of time. Here the main focus lies on the economic growth and social development. Two important components, economic growth and social development. Economic growth provides all the inputs for the youth or for the members of the society to take care of their economic needs, and then the social development comes out of that. If their economic needs are met, social development will take place like the employment to everybody, education to everybody, providing health to each and everyone. Now that is the focus, how it could be done, and that is done through a planning process where you have undertake the studies, what is the employment problems, what are the employments can be given to the people, what are the areas where certain activities can be undertaken and these people can be employed. That is very important to be taken care of. Number 2, process oriented program for the poor. Poor in the sense who are the people who do not have enough inputs, are not able to meet both the ends. They are not able to have all those basic needs fulfilled. How they can be helped? Can we help them by formation of self-help groups? We bring them together, provide them jobs, or involve them in certain activities which will benefit them. So how can we have process oriented programs which help the poor? If you remember and recall, we said combating the poor is the main objective of EPST. So this, keeping that objective in mind, out of one of the fourth objective, we have to work out process oriented programs. Number 3, microfinance, providing them microfinance, training and capacity building. Training so that they are able to use their skill for production of a particular type of items and are able to earn money out of that. So how do we provide them finance? Like these days the efforts are going on, Pradhan Mantri Dhan Yojana, where people can open their accounts freely and they are also insured against the accident by 1 lakh rupee. Now this is what is this? This is the process by which you are providing them some confidence and also providing them microfinance, and they are able to take care of certain capacities for building. They know now they can deposit money, they can become the customer of the banks. Whenever money is saved, they can keep there safely. Whenever they are required, they can withdraw the money and they are given a card so that they become party to the whole financial process. Next is the encourage authorities and institutions to apply sustainable development in the planning. So regional authorities and institutions are encouraged to come out with certain programs which will help the villagers in building their capacity, in building their financial support and taking development so that it is useful to every member of the society. So, this is the how do you integrate? You integrate the all the activities of the people in such a manner they are able to sustain it. You just do not give subsidies only, or you just give some donations. No, you give them these things like inputs for their development. So, they are able to make use of it, provide them enough training, provide them how to build their own capacities, provide them microfinance, you provide them loans, give them some inputs like fertilizers, seed, implements. So, these are the things which if they are given to them and they are trained well, then you will find that they are able to develop themselves and combat the poverty to a great extent. Now, what are the institutional and procedural aspects of the National Sustainability Development Strategy? This is very interesting to note that a large numbers of laws related to development and institutional aspects have been made to regulate environmental issues. That is, for example, all the banks, nationalized banks, have been given targets and have been given responsibility to fund the projects at the village level, provide them loan to run those projects. Now, this is what? This is they are trying to help people at a lower level to take up certain activities by providing them funds, loans, subsidies, so that they are able to carry out those activities. The National Development Council, Environment Council has been created and playing the role of EPSD coordination process. Now, this council takes care of all the important aspects related to environment and its control, how can we take care of and provide environment to the people. The Prime Minister is the chairperson for this council and the Minister of Environment and Forest is a member. The idea is that forests, which are national wealth, how they can be preserved, how they can be made more useful, how we can save them from getting destroyed by certain group of people, how it possibly can be done. For example, there is an act law, before you can cut down a tree, you have to take the permission. You can't just take the axe and cut the tree, even it is next to your house. Permission has to be taken before cutting the plant and justify why you want to cut the plant or a tree. So, therefore, large number of laws like that have been enacted to help so that the environment is taken care of. So, the Center for Environment Education has been created as an autonomous agency, and it also is a center of excellence which educate people about the environment activities. How can you improve the environment? That's what people say. If you are watching television these days or listening to radio, they say if you are getting married, best thing is you put a tree, you plant a tree. Like that, interesting slogans are being put, schemes are being run. Adopt a plant in name of whatever activities you want to have it. Plant a tree, put your name on this tree that belongs to you. Now these are the schemes of promoting the inputs which will help the improving the environment. It is also very interesting to note that Tata Energy and Resource Institute is the largest research institution working on local, national and global sustainability issues in all the developing countries. This institute, which is popularly known as TERI, TERI, Tata Energy and Resource Institute, TERI, has come out with certain activities, projects and working with the national, local, state and national levels to work out the programs, design the programs and launch them for this purpose basically. Now we come to the participation aspects. What are the participation aspects which have to be taken care of? There are a large number of NGOs working as environmental activities. These NGOs, some of them are very big, some of them are small. Nevertheless, they are trying to meet the objective of the sustainable development, and they are contributing to a great extent for the various programs which are related to development itself. These NGOs, of course, sometimes they get government fundings, donations to run their programs, and they also collect funds so that their activities can be undertaken. We have very large number of NGOs in various areas. Some are specialized for a particular type of activities, some are multi-purpose and some are working at a national level, some are on a state level, village level. So, variety of NGOs we have, variety of activities they undertake, and they are very effective since they are organized by the people themselves, they are locally available to take up the actions. So, the NGOs means non-government organizations. These non-government organizations are able to contribute significantly in addition to the government organizations. These NGOs, some are very big and some are very small, but they are involved in certain activities, they are registered. If somebody makes donation to NGOs, then they get relief in income tax other type of taxes, exemptions are given to them. They also they provide the information technology, new information about innovations, new methodologies, and involve people and make the whole thing very transparent. So, government is also providing certain information technology platforms to raise awareness, increase people's participation and transparency in their methodologies. So, a national environment information system has been set up, which takes care of all the information which is coming out of these activities. Now, the Sustainable Development Networking Program has been launched, which is called SDNP, Sustainable Development Networking Program. It facilitates the process of sustainable development by providing information to NGOs, research organizations, business establishments and civil societies. The purpose of Sustainable Development Networking Program is that all the NGOs are able to get information regarding various type of innovative activities, regarding various types of work plans and what can be done for improvement of the quality of life, what are the facilities are being made available in terms of maybe imparting knowledge, improving their attitude, maybe providing certain training programs or maybe providing literature, so that their capacity is built up and they are trained enough to undertake the activities which will help them and also the society. Now, how these are monitored? There are certain indicators through which they are monitored. In case of India, there are certain numbers have been fixed or levels have been fixed, so that the development can be measured. For example, infant mortality 72 per 1000 live births. Literacy rate is increased to 65.2%. Safe drinking water, so that the household, the families are able to access it, this should be increased to 62.3%. Sanitation facility, it is targeted 49.32%. But if you see the present program, you will find lot of emphasis is given. The new government has started a program, Bharat एक स्वच्छ देश और स्वच्छ योजनाएं. Now, there is a focus that if sanitation is made available, proper facilities are created, then you can take care of the health problems of the individuals. So, the present emphasis is that everybody must be provided with the sanitation facilities, and all efforts are being made. But at that time when the sustainable project was started, they said even if it is 50% people are able to get the sanitation facilities, then it will be said that development is taking place. Next point was that the households with electricity connections, 42.3%. If electricity connection is made available to 42% population, 43% population, then we will say yes, development is taking place. What is the idea of fixing the targets? Idea is that once you have a target fixed, then in the last you can evaluate, measure how much you have achieved, how much you have not achieved. What you have in mind, what you thought of, what was your planning process, what were your indicators, they have been taken care of or not. If not, then you put more emphasis on that. If yes, then you pay less emphasis on that. So, if you analyze the present situation, the more emphasis is being given to certain items which was not there earlier. Then, for example, nowadays you must have been observing yourself, proper sanitation facilities is giving a lot of importance. Electricity is given a lot of importance. How can you save electricity? How can you provide electricity to everybody? Is being focused. How to provide education at primary level is under focus. So, number of items which are responsible for development now are being focused, but the point is target have to be fixed. So, the earlier program on sustainable development targets were fixed that we have to do this. Then we said, for example, in permanent housing provided to the families, so we said about 41% people should have the permanent houses, which are very responsible, which is very important. Then shelters, this was said about 28% we should be able to build the shelters. So, the monitoring aspects in development projects are very important to be worked out and have to be taken care of. If you see what was done in case of India, PEO, Planning Program Evaluation Organization. It was created which will evaluate the selected programs and schemes. So, you will in my presentation I have exposed you to various number of organizations created for implementing the sustainable development projects and how they are being evaluated and monitored. So, for monitoring they created a program evaluation organization which will collect the databases, which will collect the information and also monitor the programs, find out how many people have been benefited, to what extent they have been benefited, and how these things are available, helpful to the members of the society. So, the program evaluation organization created by Government of India is a major institution to evaluate all the activities of the program, to know how much has been achieved in terms of monitoring the various programs. So, once you have done the monitoring, targets have been developed, then we come to the implementation aspects. What are the various implementation aspects and specific initiatives taken thereby? First thing is that we have agreed to the principles of sustainable development, that how it will take place. With the help of NGOs, various organizations have been created. So, we are seeing that India, when take as a case, they have established number of institutions and also established and created laws for seeing that the development take place. Then the challenge between the people who are below poverty line, people who are well off, how this conflict can be reduced. So, there has been schemes that people who are poor, they should be provided inputs for taking up certain activities which will give them economic returns. Their account should be opened in banks, they should be given loans to start certain activities. As far as the capacity building is concerned, India set up a National Green Corps program, NGC, National Green Corps program. This program provides opportunities to the people to understand the environment and environmental problems. So, certain clubs have been established and this is going on. Then the act which is called Biological Diversity Act, which has been created, which helps in integration of conservation and use of biological diversity into relevant sectors, programs and policies. Now, the important point to be understood, not only you create the institutions, organizations, bodies, not only to make the NGOs effective, but also create the laws. Without laws, creating of the laws, it becomes difficult to operate. For example, in Swachh Bharat Yojana, they said, don't throw the waste on the road, put in dustbin. But then they had to create a regulatory body and certain information. If you do this, then you will be punished. You have to pay so much of the fine. So, therefore, you will have to have certain bodies to be created for that purpose. Next question comes, how do we improve governance? This is a very, very important thing. The present government is also emphasizing, but in sustainable development, if governance is improved, your lot of problems are solved. So, the basic components of this improving the governance is that how should you make your policies transparent, procedures, methodologies, how we should make the people aware of about this, so that they understand properly how it could be done. Then we have less windows. Less windows means you should not have so many steps for getting a thing done. So it should be, if you have more steps for getting the work done, the corruption increases. Therefore, have one window. That has been present government is saying. Every work is done online. You need not to rush to different organizations and offices for getting the work done. You just file it and the work is taken up. Whatever papers are required also given on online, presented to them, and then the action is taken. Then the professionals must be introduced into the administrative system. If you have read the news paper, you have found that the new planning commission which has been created called Niti Aayog, the deputy chairman is a person who is an economist, Mr. Arvind, who has been working in USA and has been made the deputy chairman. A professional who understands about problems, issues, solutions about economic problems has been introduced in the system. So therefore, professionals should be brought into the administrative system, and when you have policies to be done. These are some of the steps which have to be taken into account for improving the governance. Once governance is improved, then people will develop the confidence that our work will be done through one window. We are sure that somebody at the top level is a professional. He will see that the activities run effectively, and then others are there to help him. Then another important thing is agriculture and rural development and integrated approach. Combine both the things. How the agriculture development can take place, and we integrate this like organic farming, integrated pest management, nutrition management, waste and degraded lands, how can be used effectively. I have listed some of them which can be taken care of by the organizations so that it can take place very effectively. Next, there is a big list, and all this in this country now the departments of agriculture, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and many of the NGOs have taken up these activities. The India's approach for National Sustainable Development Strategy, if we give the summary, then we say it is a multidimensional with cross-sectoral elements, and then it has been integrated with strong integration 5-year plans, and then we have number of organizations which have been taken place. So, well, I think this will give you an idea about how National Sustainable Development Program, if you go through this summary, that how this has been taken up.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for delivering such a nice lecture, and we got a deep insight into how sustainable development could be helpful on the part of the India. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.